The Black Celestial Intergalactic Federation (BCIF), an organization renowned for its stability and order across the universe, had been unsettled by alarming rumors about one of its highest-ranking members. DBG-7, a revered Starlight Star starter, was said to be behaving in ways completely unworthy of his esteemed position. On Earth, DBG-7 had adopted a rogue persona, leveraging a controversial YouTube presence that purportedly represented the BCIF, but in ways that defied its principles and tarnished its reputation. The BCIF's governing council, composed of the wisest and most powerful beings from countless star systems, convened an emergency session. The room buzzed with a mix of disbelief, concern, and anger as the members watched clips from DBG-7's YouTube channel. The videos showcased DBG-7 engaging in reckless, often dangerous behavior, spouting radical ideas, and challenging Earth's authorities and societal norms. His actions, once guided by the Federation's core values of peace and enlightenment, now seemed to propagate chaos and disarray. Supreme Overseer Zalera, a venerable leader known for her judicious and strategic mind, took the floor. "We have all seen the evidence," she began, her voice echoing through the vast chamber. DBG-7's conduct on Earth is unacceptable for someone of his rank. His actions endanger our reputation and could destabilize our influence across the universe. The council debated fiercely. Some suggested that DBG-7 might have been corrupted by Earth's peculiarities, while others posited that he could be operating under an external threat or internal crisis. But consensus gradually formed around a more drastic solution: DBG-7 must be stopped before his actions could cause irreparable harm to the Federation. A plan was set into motion to overthrow DBG-7 and neutralize his rogue presence. The council agreed on two primary options: destruction or banishment. The BCIF's elite operatives, known as the Shadow Enforcers, were mobilized. These agents were unmatched in their skills and loyalty, trained to handle even the most formidable threats. Led by Commander Thalax, a legendary tactician and combatant, the Shadow Enforcers descended upon Earth. They were equipped with advanced technology capable of neutralizing DBG-7's formidable powers and prepared for any resistance he might offer. Their mission was clear: if DBG-7 could not be reasoned with and brought back into the fold, he was to be destroyed. Failing that, they would resort to banishment, a fate worse than death for someone of his stature, stripping him of all rank and casting him into the void of the universe, exiled and forgotten. The enforcers tracked DBG-7 to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of a bustling city. Inside, surrounded by sophisticated equipment and half-completed projects, DBG-7 awaited them. His demeanor was calm, almost expectant, as if he had foreseen this confrontation. DBG-7, Commander Thalax announced, stepping forward, "You are hereby ordered to cease your activities and submit to the authority of the BCIF." DBG-7's eyes, visible through the slits of his mask, flashed with a mixture of defiance and sadness. "You don't understand," he replied. "Everything I've done has been for a purpose greater than you can imagine. There's a threat coming, one that requires unorthodox measures to counter." Thalax was unmoved. "Your actions have sown discord and endangered the Federation's stability. You've left us no choice." A fierce battle erupted, a clash of titans that shook the very foundations of the building. DBG-7 fought with the desperation of someone with nothing left to lose, his every move calculated to delay and misdirect. But the enforcers were relentless, their resolve unbreakable. Finally, cornered and outmatched, DBG-7 faced the inevitable. "If you destroy me, you'll never know the truth," he warned, his voice strained. "Banishing me is your only hope of understanding what's really at stake." Thalax hesitated for a moment, considering the weight of DBG-7's words. After a tense silence, he gave the order: "Prepare the exile chamber." In a flash of light, DBG-7 was bound in energy restraints, his powers neutralized. As he was led to the chamber, he cast one last glance back at Thalax. "You're making a mistake," he said, his voice echoing with a haunting certainty. "Remember my words when the darkness comes." With a blinding flash, DBG-7 was gone, cast into the infinite void of space, his fate uncertain. The BCIF had succeeded in their immediate goal, but a sense of unease lingered. Had they truly eliminated a rogue threat, or had they unwittingly silenced the one voice that could have saved them from a far greater danger? Only time would tell. DBG-7 floated in the void, the remnants of the exile chamber's energy dissipating around him. A subtle, almost imperceptible laugh escaped his lips. They took the bait, he murmured to himself, the sound echoing through the emptiness. The BCIF had fallen into his carefully laid trap. This elaborate ruse had served its purpose, to flush out the true traitors within the Federation. DBG-7's mind raced with the realization of who had betrayed him. The Lax's order had confirmed his suspicions. The mole within the BCIF was now exposed. They think they know my powers, my limits, he chuckled, but they have no idea. In truth, the Federation had gravely underestimated him. The ruse of being captured and exiled was just another step in his grand plan. With a mere thought, DBG-7 broke free of the restraints, the energy bindings disintegrating like mist in the wind. His true power, far beyond what the BCIF had ever imagined, allowed him to traverse the cosmos effortlessly. He was more than just a Starlight Star starter, he was Armor 144, a being of unparalleled strength and cunning, capable of bending reality to his will. In an instant, DBG-7 reappeared at the BCIF headquarters, materializing in the Central Council chamber where the leaders were still in session. Gasps and cries of shock filled the room as the members saw the figure they believed to be banished forever standing before them, unscathed and radiating power. Impossible! The Lax shouted, drawing his weapon. But DBG-7 merely laughed, a deep, resonant sound that seemed to reverberate through the very walls of the chamber. You thought you could capture me. DBG-7's voice was both mocking and triumphant. I am DBG-7, also known as Armor 144. Your combined might is nothing compared to mine. With a wave of his hand, DBG-7 disarmed the Lax and the Enforcers, their weapons clattering uselessly to the ground. The council members were frozen in fear and awe as DBG-7 levitated, his presence dominating the room. Your attempts to thwart me have only revealed your weakness, he continued, his eyes scanning the room, settling on those he now knew were the moles. And now, I know who among you is truly loyal, and who sought to betray me. The traitors, their faces pale, attempted to flee, but DBG-7 immobilized them with a mere glance. You will pay for your treachery, he declared, his voice cold and merciless. But first, a new order will rise. Turning his gaze to the remaining council members, he announced, from this moment forward, I assume command of the Black Celestial Intergalactic Federation. Under my leadership, we will reach heights you never dreamed possible. The council, recognizing the futility of resistance, bowed their heads in submission. The Lax, defeated and disarmed, could do nothing but watch as DBG-7 took the throne at the center of the chamber. As for you, DBG-7 said, addressing the traitors once more, your punishment will serve as a warning to all who dare to oppose me. With a final, chilling laugh, DBG-7 sealed the fate of the moles and cemented his control over the BCIF. Under his rule, the Federation would be transformed, its influence spreading even further across the galaxy. Whether this new era would bring prosperity or tyranny was yet to be seen, but one thing was certain, DBG-7, now Armor 144, was unstoppable.